2-5 starts out with a little bit of review of what we've done the past few days. So the first one is a parallelogram, which if you remember from the activity we did, when we cut that dotted line of a parallelogram and move it to the other side, it becomes a rectangle. So to find the area of a parallelogram, we do the same thing that we do to find the area of a rectangle, which is to multiply the base times the height. The diagonal line is not the height, that's the diagonal. We want to take the two measurements that make that right angle. So our area is 3 times 4, which is 12, and then we need to label it centimeters squared. For the perimeter, we need to go around. Now we don't care about this anymore because that's up the middle. If you're putting a fence around your yard, you wouldn't put a fence smack dab in the middle of your yard. So our perimeter is 4 plus 5, and then we can either say 4 plus 5 times 2 because we have 2 more sides, or you could say 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5, and then we have 9 and 9 for a total of 18. So our perimeter equals 18 centimeters. Same thing with our right triangle. If you think back to the activity that we did where we had a rectangle and we cut that rectangle in half, it became a triangle. So for our area, we want to take the base, which in this case is 6, times the height, which is 7. We're going to multiply it together, but remember, a triangle is half of a rectangle, so we need to divide this by 2, which is the same thing as saying you're cutting it in half. And 42 divided by 2 is 21. Or we could do where we half this, oopsie, that is not half, where we half this to 3, and then we take 3 times 7, which we still get the same answer, which is 21, and we want to label it centimeters squared. When we're finding the perimeter, and I'm going to erase this so it doesn't confuse us, when we're finding the perimeter, we're going around the solid lines. So for the perimeter, we have 6 plus 8 plus 10, the solid lines, which gives us a total of 14 plus 10. So our perimeter is 24 centimeters. Looking at number 3, we can start by finding the perimeter, which is the easiest part, where we just add 8 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5, and that's our perimeter. Now for the area, we have to take this complex figure apart. So we have what I've already drawn at the bottom. We have a parallelogram and a right triangle. Well, the first thing we want to do is put in the measurements. We know that the measurement here is 5. Now, for area, we don't care about the diagonal lines. We need to find what the height is. Oops, that's a terrible, it should be straight. The height here says that it is 4, not the diagonal line of 5. So now we have 5 and 4, which with the parallelogram we just multiply together, and we get 20. Then for our right triangle, we have our height is 4. Now the base is a little bit tricky because from here to here we know is 5, which if the total is 8, that means this little piece here is 3. When we're finding the area of a triangle, remember we half one of the sides, so I'm going to change that to a 2, and our area there is 6. So the area of this complex figure is 20, my pen is having a hard time, 26 centimeters squared. Now over here for number 4, we can either split this way, or if you wanted to, you could go horizontally too. I'm just going to leave it like this because to me it's way easier. If I look here, from here to here is a rectangle. So I have 4 and 2, which is a total of 8. And then I know that this is a square because if this is 4 and the whole thing is 9, this is 5. So I have 5 and 5, which is 25. And my total for my area is 33 centimeters squared. Now for the perimeter, there's a couple of spaces I need to make sure I don't forget. I have 9 plus 2 plus 4. I'm going to go over to this side, plus 5. I figured out that was 5. I don't want to forget this spot here. And I can figure out that spot because it tells me that from here to here is 2 centimeters and all the way from the top to the bottom is 5 centimeters. So that spot there must be 3. So I'm going to add that. So I have that all for my perimeter, and then I'm just going to add those numbers together. Once again, for number 5, we just need to take this apart. It doesn't matter if we go vertically or horizontally, we get the same answer. So if I go, I'm going to cut them vertically like this. And I'm going to redraw them down here into 3 separate pieces. So this little one has 1 here, and I have to figure out how much is on the top here. Well, I know the whole thing is 6. This is 3. This is 2, which gets us to 5. To get to 6, that means this has to be 1 more. So the top of this square is 1. Then if I go to the next one, the bottom is 2. And then this whole side is 2 plus 1 more because we have to go up the whole thing, and there's 2 and 1 for a total of 3 for that one. Then for the big rectangle, we have 3 on the bottom, and then going up the side, it doesn't give us a number, so we have to add together. We have 3 plus 2 plus 1, so this is a total of 6 on the side. Now we're going to go back and we're going to just find the area of each of the rectangles. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 1 is 1. And now we need to add each of these together. So we have 18 plus 7, which gives us 25 centimeters squared. For the perimeter, remember, we're going around all of the solid spots. So we are going to add 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. Uh-oh, we don't know this one here. Well, once again, we already said this over here, that this little one here is 1. Okay, so we have 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 6 plus 6 gives us our perimeter. For number 6, there's 2 different ways that we can do this. We can either find the area of each triangle separately, which remember is taking half of the base times the height, which means this one is 6, half of the base times the height, which is 6. So my area is 12 centimeters squared. Or you could have said, oh, you know what? If I put the 2 triangles together, it makes a rectangle. And then you could have said, so you have, there is one side and there's the other. There's one side, there's the other. And instead of finding them separately, you could have just said 4 times 3, because when you put the 2 triangles together, we know it makes a rectangle, and you would have gotten the same answer. For the perimeter, once again, make sure that you're back to adding up 4, don't half it. So we have 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3, and that's your perimeter. What's fun about the remembering side is that after doing those complex figures, this probably seems going back to the basics. Remember, when we find the area of a triangle, we need to take half of the base or height and then multiply them together, or take 8 times 5, which is 40, and then divide it by 2, which gets you to a total of 20 centimeters squared. Or you could have halved the 8 to 4, and 4 times 2 is 20. Remember, when you're finding the perimeter, you don't cut a fence through the middle of the yard. So when you're finding the perimeter, you have 8 plus 7 plus 6 for the perimeter. With a parallelogram you do not cut in half. It's the same thing as a rectangle. You just have to make sure you take this for your area. So for our area, we're taking the part that makes that right angle. So we have 9 times 7 for your area. And make sure you put it in square centimeters. And then for the perimeter, you have 9 plus 8, because it says 8 over here, plus 9 plus 8. Now you can say 8 plus 9 times 2, but sometimes kids forget to multiply the 2. So what's best is to have your pencil actually on there and to say, all right, I've got this side, this side, this side, and this side. I'm going to let you do 3 and 4 on your own. Just remember, with a triangle, you need to divide by 2. Remember, with magic squares, you're trying to find, okay, what number will go into both 15 and 9? Well, if I think 5 doesn't go into both of them, but 3 goes into both of them, so I'm going to put a 3 here, and I'm going to put it here. The first number is the hardest number. Now I say, what do I multiply by 3 to get to 9? Well, we know 3 times 3 is 9, and I'm going to bring my 3 over here. Then I'm going to say, all right, what do I multiply 3 by here to get to 15? And 3 times 5 is 15, and I'm going to move my 5 over here. Then we say, what do I multiply by? Let's look at number 9. If I think to myself, okay, what number goes into both 56 and 49? And I list those out in my head or on paper, and I find that, oh, 7 goes into 49, and 7 goes into 56. And then I ask myself, what do I multiply 7 by to get 49? And 49 divided by 7 is 7, and I'm going to bring that on both sides. And then I ask myself, what do I multiply 7 by to get 56? And that's 8. I'm going to bring 8 to the other side. And then I'm going to ask myself, what do I multiply 7 by to get 63? Or 63 divided by 7 is 9. I'm going to bring my 9 up there. And then the last one is easy because I just say 9 times 8, is 72. And then let's do one more together. If we look at 72 and 32, 8 goes into both of them. And then I say, what do I multiply 8 by to get 32? And I multiply 8 by 4. What do I multiply 8 by to get 72? And I know that's 9. What do I multiply 4 by to get 28? And that is 7. And then 7 times 9 is 63. This here is why having your math facts down is so important. That's it. Great job.